So before I started my classroom management plan, I had to consider my philosophy. So what I understood was that I need to create a safe and happy environment for my students. It's up to me as a teacher to educate my students in positive actions and appropriate coping techniques. I need to facilitate their learning, promote self-efficacy and personal responsibility, and creating ownership in the classroom. I want my students to work collaboratively in an environment which will include positive reinforcement, encouragement and personal commitment from my students to assist others in their learning as well as help when they're in need. I need to consider the influences and policies implemented by other sources such as parents, cultures, religions, the students' disabilities, school policies and the school environment. I need to align my teaching to the students' learning and these considerations and promote an educational experience to my students where they feel they are learning for a purpose. So the development of my classroom plan will consider my professional and philosophical views of teaching, where students are learning and developing their academic and social skills in an environment that fosters each student's personal needs and educational goals. So the strategies that I've chosen to align with this are aligned with the psychoeducational framework. So this framework really delves into why our students are misbehaving, and it's actually the behaviour that's the problem and not the student. So we really need to figure out why they're misbehaving, how we can help them achieve their outcomes. So my own philosophy of teaching and furthermore aligns with the Lyford model of classroom management. So this involves ecological perspectives, socio-cultural perspectives, psychoeducational perspectives, which is what I'm aligning my whole classroom management plan to. For the 4 positive practices, so relationships, communication, creating work that aligns both with the curriculum and psychoeducational perspectives, assessment and pedagogy. So this is really how I'm going to start my classroom management plan. So to start off, I'm going to have classroom organisation. So I'm going to promote collaboration, which is a psychoeducational part of the psychoeducational framework. So I'm going to have large groups within the classroom. There's going to be a variation of colour, space and texture within the class, so the students' posters and work will be displayed within the classroom. So for example, in a human biology class, I might have anatomy posters and things like that for the students to learn off as well as take ownership for. So within the classroom organisation, there's routines and procedures. So at the beginning of the year, I'll go through with the students a few instructions that they, housekeeping instructions that they should follow. This could be anything from please place your bags at the bag station, make sure you have your pencil case. If you don't have what you need, find what you need in the shared class pencil case, because not all students have the utensils they need to learn. I want the students to actually get the work from a work cupboard. I don't want them taking their work home and then losing it and things like that. So I'll always have copies of their work with me, so then they can come in and do their projects and things without actually worrying about where their work is. I'm also going to implement an opportunity to respond for the students. There's going to be an anonymous question box which will be included in the classroom. So after every lesson, I'll ask the students to write down a statement or a question about the content of the class. Now they also have the opportunity to ask any questions that are bothering them, anything in their life in general that they can write down. This is sort of creates an anonymous way for them to seek help as well. So they can either put their name on it or not. The next class I'll actually go through the questions that are to do with what I've been teaching and any other aspects that are help seeking from the students. I'll chase those up and try and help the students as best as I can in a discreet way. So I also want to create some classroom expectations both for the students and myself. So sort of to give them the notion that we're in this together. So some expectations for the students may be we encourage and help each other, we work to the best of our ability, and some things for myself might include Mr. Rubery will create a safe and comfortable environment. Mr. Rubery will assist his students with any issues, questions or problems they may have. I really want to implement planned ignoring as an intervention strategy as well. So I want to go through and focus on the positive behaviours and not really disrupt the class with minor behaviours. It's really important to show the students and be a role model to them about the positive behaviours that we should display. I also want to bring in self-reflection. So if giving the students a choice or using planned ignoring does not work and the student is still being disruptive, I'll ask them to go to a reflection station where they'll be isolated and they'll cool off and they can answer a few questions if they wish. Otherwise, they can talk to me about why they're misbehaving, because a lot of students don't actually understand why they're misbehaving, but they still do it anyway because it's subconscious sometimes. So we really want them to understand themselves why they've made the choices they have and what they could do instead. So pretty much my classroom management plan is fully aligned with the psychoeducational framework. Obviously there's going to be a lot more detail in my plan itself, but that's just a little bit overarching topic of what I'm going to be implementing into the classroom. Thank you.